So we're looking at another homework tip. Question number 57, looking at line graphs. The temperature in degrees Celsius on a particular day in Auckland was recorded at 4 hourly intervals over a 24-hour period. So they give us the data here, the time and the temperature that it was. On the axis represent the data using a line on the graph. So at 8 a.m., we had a temperature of 11 degrees. So that would be between 10 and 12 there. Then at 12 p.m., watch that you go over to the 12, it was 20 degrees. And at 4 p.m., it was down to 18. And at 8 p.m., down to 14. And at 12 p.m., dropping down to 8 degrees. And at 4 a.m., we're down to 5 degrees, which is in between there. So to make the line graph, we need to connect these with line. So using a ruler is helpful if you have one. And this kind of gives us a shape to help us see how the temperature trended over the day. So connecting in the dots as best we can. And the final one here. I'm sure you guys probably hard to do on the tablet. But here we go. There's our graph. So estimate the temperature at 10 a.m. They want to know the temperature at 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. is going to happen here, 8, 10, 12. So 10 a.m. is here. So come up and look. Well, we don't know exactly because nobody measured it, but we can estimate it by looking at where the graph might have crossed. So it's a little bit below 16, but maybe somewhere between 15 to 16 degrees. So you can give a range. That would be a good estimate for it. If we move down, estimate the temperature at 1 a.m. So at 1 a.m., over here, remember these go in 2-hour intervals, so that's actually 2 a.m. So 1 a.m. is somewhere here in between. And what would be the estimate on that one? Roughly 7 degrees or 7.5 degrees. So roughly 7 degrees. For how long in the day did the temperature remain above, was the temperature above 14 degrees, and justify our answer? So let's take a look at our graph and look for 14 degrees. There it is. I'm just going to put a line across it so we can see easily what we're looking at. For how many hours of that day was it above that line? Well, it goes above that line at about 9 o'clock or 9:30. So 9:30 a.m. And then when does it go below that line again? That's at 8 p.m. How many hours is that during a day? That's roughly 10 or 11 hours that it was above 14 degrees. And just to justify it, basically by showing the line on the graph, we're doing that. So using graph, we can estimate when it is above 14 degrees. Not too tricky. So our last question, during which 4-hour period did the temperature drop most, and justify our answer here? So looking at the graph for a minute, let's take a look. When did it drop most? So between which 4-hour period did it drop most? So we're looking basically between the dots. So it did go up quite a bit between 8 and 12, but that's not dropping in temperature, that's increasing. So there we see a little drop of 2 degrees, 4 degrees, what do we have here? 6 degrees from 14 to 8, and then roughly 3 degrees there. So this becomes the biggest drop. So that was from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. So from 8 p.m. 12 a.m. is the biggest drop. Oops. So that goes from 14 degrees to 8 degrees, so a total drop of 6 degrees. And we know that also because it's the steepest line on the graph. Remember, the line, the slope of the line, or the gradient of the line, how steep it is, kind of indicates for us the rate of change, if you remember that from our graphing topic. So given that it's the steepest line in that section from 8 to 12, it's got the largest rate of change, but we can also tell just by looking at the numbers. It goes from 14 to 8, 6 degrees, which is a bigger drop than any of the other time periods. So there we are.